part 60 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger. We are now officially on Friday, July 9th, 2021. It's the third day into the trial, but technically only day 2 of the trial, since the day before was taken off to deal with Shawn Driz's foolery by falsely claiming bankruptcy. Okay, so we're on July 9th, 2021, Friday, and this is after the day off to deal with Shawn Driz's foolery for falsely claiming to be bankrupt. And the only people that showed up to this court date are Alberto Driz and William Jolson. He's still not showing up because remember, he's battling cancer. And we found out the night before that Shawn Driz is actually on a luxury yacht and staying in a luxury Airbnb in Turks and Caicos. So we get to court this Friday morning, and all of the information and all the screen grabs and everything I gave him to my attorney to give to the judge. So the judge is notified of my discovery, and she tells Alberto that she better call Shawn and let him know, it's Friday, that he better be in court on Monday. No questions asked. Okay, now we're gonna skip to the following Monday, which is July 12th, 2021. And for the first time ever, all 4 defendants actually show up to court. Side note, Shawn is extremely tan, and you know who else is extremely tan, like really like baked tan? Maurice Driz. Which is interesting because when my brother, he was always tan and he was outdoorsy, he'd camp, he'd go to the beach. But the second he was diagnosed with cancer, he became like 10 shades lighter because obviously like he would wear sunscreen just to walk out to the mailbox. He would wear hats, long sleeve shirts in the summer because obviously cancer and sun don't go together. Yet somehow Maurice was the healthiest and the tannest we had ever seen him. Also, Maurice was sporting a huge neck bandage. We're gonna get to that. Okay, so on this day, we had to finish jury selection. It's a long, thorough process, and go over a couple of things, and then we get into opening statements. Oh, I will note too that I actually came late on this court date. I came 90 minutes late because I ended up, I think I always like set my alarm for like 6 a.m. for these, and I ended up waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and having a full panic attack, and then was just nauseous and having a full physical, emotional freak out. And like I texted my attorneys telling them what happened, and I was like, I'll try to get there the second I'm safe to like drive, and then I can whatever. So the judge knew and I showed up. Okay, so it starts off and the judge is talking to Shawn Driz, and he says, I was advised by my bankruptcy attorney to not show up to court, but I've been at every court date on time the last 6 years. That's a lie. The judge even goes, I don't think that's quite accurate, but whatever. And I remember too, during the criminal process, that Shawn, it was mandatory for him to be there for just for the whole trial pretty much. And the day at the very end, after they were found guilty, blah, 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 like GBI felonies, like I was allowed to give my impact statement, which was, I did it on my series earlier, I think part 13, and it was terrifying having to speak directly to the men who tried to unalive you, who are snickering at you and stuff. And he chose to skip that day entirely because he didn't want to hear my impact statement, so he just didn't come. So Alberto Driz, she's asking for everybody for their financial documents. We need that for the punitive portion of the trial that will come after the civil portion. And Alberto's like, well, my bank only gave me 3 of 7 years of statements. We've literally had years to get this handed over. He hasn't done it. The judge goes, yeah, and there's also no Blaze Pizza statements. Blaze Pizza, did you want to help out maybe and help out the victims? We should totally boycott. We'll get to that. Then the judge asks, she asks about like texts and emails between the defendants from the night and the weeks after after the incident. And I love that she brought that up. And Alberto said, nope, no texts or emails between any of us. And here's the thing though. It turns out, I found out that we did subpoena those. Like at first my attorneys didn't want to because they were like, well, they probably deleted them. And I was like, wait a second. So I called up I called up Verizon, I called up Sprint, I called up everybody and years ago. And I asked them what to do in a situation like this. And all of them told me, they were like, yeah, all you have to do is just get a subpoena, give it to us, and we can give you all the way back 10 years. So I told my attorneys this, like I emailed or texted them. I was like, you guys, you were wrong. We can get these. So they ended up finally, I don't know when, but eventually down the line, they subpoenaed them. All the defendants ignored the subpoena, and we just never followed up. So that's been upsetting. And I don't even know if we're still allowed. Well, technically we have until this April for the phone companies to hand them over for the subpoena. It's a 10-year thing. So I don't know if that would work for civil, if we need them for civil, but I was upset that we didn't get that. So at this point in court, William Jolson rolls in like an hour or two in, and he goes, "Oh, traffic was a nightmare." Next, the judge points out that neither William Jolson or Shawn Driz brought financial documents that they were supposed to bring the previous week when Shawn was on a mega yacht. And then at this point in court, Shawn brings up that Christina Schwarzenegger is his girlfriend. So now we get into opening statements. This is all the attorneys, which means the defendants and our attorneys get to say their piece before we start talking to witnesses on the stand. And one of our attorneys gets up and he, just to like summarize whatever, he's like, Alberto Driz was seen assaulting Anne. Maurice Driz was seen attacking my unconscious body. The nice guy manager, the manager of the nice guy, tried saving my life. So Shawn Driz attacked him, and so that Maurice could finish the job on me, to unalive me. And then also William Jolson was also seen attacking the guy trying to save my life. And also that there was a female witness who was checking my pulse to see if I was alive. And while she was doing that, one of the Driz twins came up to her and backhanded her as hard as he could across the face. Oh, and during, I think maybe like lunch or the morning break or something like that, because we would take a little break here and there, when we went out into the hallway or out front in front of the courthouse or whatever to get some air, I forget which one, I have photos and videos, but the Driz twins would walk within like 10 feet behind us down the hallway, and then like when we'd leave the building, they'd follow us out there and linger like 20 feet away and just pace back and forth, and it was unnerving. So we had our attorneys go up to her, and off the record, we asked for visible security presence in the hallway, just so that when we stepped outside, you know, we would have security. And the judge was like, well, security's never been needed inside my courtroom ever before, so we're not gonna have them inside, but outside, okay. That will change by the end of the trial. At this point, the judge then warns all of the defendants. She says, this is a federal courthouse. 3 Drizes are on felony probation, correct? And Shawn Driz says, correct. This is important for later. Okay, so somebody told these guys along the way, I'm guessing, they were like, okay, you know, you're very rich, you know a lot of stuff, and if we just, you know, tell you what to do, and you've seen Ally McBeal in Matlock, right? You should be good. And like, they had such a cocky swagger of like trying to use like legal lingo and stuff in court, but they did it wrong so many times. And just the arrogance was insane, and it just got worse and worse and worse. So let's start off. We have enough time to do William Jolson's, like a quick summary of his opening statements, William Jolson. And so he starts off and he says something. He goes, I'm not denying any wrongdoing. And then he says, injuries sustained by the plaintiffs were a direct result of their reckless and aggressive behavior. And then he blames TMZ for antagonizing the Drizzes. So what he's saying is it's everybody else's fault, and I gave myself the traumatic brain injury, and apparently I beat myself while I was unconscious. I don't know. I got to stop doing that. Okay, let's go to the next part.